Transmigrated as a disabled protagonist, how should I continue the script? Chapter 24, Encountering the Target. Dororo. With an empty hand, Yakimaru faced Dazai Osamu, who started to circle around to the back of the chair. Dazai Osamu playfully said, "You can't catch me." Yakimaru was unwilling to let him evade, but deep down, he felt a strange sense of discomfort, as if something about this game was off. Wasn't there a similar scene in ancient dramas where someone would catch a beautiful courtesan? Feeling puzzled, Yakimaru couldn't help but vaguely imagine the appearance of Dororo. In his mind, she was probably not extraordinarily beautiful, but a cute and delicate girl. Just like that, the game of hide the cat stretched on for nearly 2 days. During the day, Dazai Osamu did not touch him even slightly, and at night, he kept his distance while sleeping. There were still a few beds in the clinic. In the prolonged situation where Dororo could not be found, the puppet-like boy in a quiet state suddenly sprang into action. He lunged, his arm reaching toward Dazai Osamu, aiming for the direction he would dodge, trying to catch Dororo. Dazai Osamu successfully predicted this, smoothly dodging in the opposite direction. Mori Ogai, after watching the uneventful scene for quite some time, finally spoke, "Dazai-kun, if you keep doing this, you'll make Yaki-kun sad. He's someone who really has no sense of security." "I'm thinking for Mori-san." Dazai Osamu stared at Yakimaru's every move, clearly enjoying himself, and said, "If Mori-san is interested in the newcomers to Yokohama, then Yakimaru shouldn't touch me. My no longer human will cause his ranking to lose effectiveness." Mori Ogai's mind raced swiftly, and a strange, gloomy expression appeared on the face of the worn-out old man. "According to your guess, the newcomers aren't from the Vongala family? How could they be Vongala?" Dazai Osamu gently responded to Mori Ogai, holding intel clues from both the Port Mafia and the Special Division, essentially the one holding the script of this event. He was the mastermind behind the scenes pushing the event forward, while the unexpected trigger came from Yakimaru. Yakimaru, whose fortune was the strongest, directly disrupted the flow. The result was Rokudo Mukuro arrived in Yokohama. With Mori-san involved, Yakimaru had no way to capture Dazai Osamu, sitting obediently at a distance of 2 meters from Dazai Osamu, his joints bound tightly to the chair. This process almost cost Mori Ogai his old life, as Yakimaru did not hold back on attacking him. Elise helped hold his legs steady. She proudly declared, "Rin Taro, I want to eat cake." The broke Rin Taro cheerfully paid for Elise's cake, completely forgetting that some people were surviving on instant noodles. Dazai Osamu subtly smirked, "Mori-san, aren't you running low on money?" Mori Ogai happily replied, "Even if I am, I can't save money on my little girl. She is the world's treasure." Just as Dazai Osamu was about to return to the main topic, Mori Ogai added one more thing. "Yaki-kun is also a treasure." The hand resting on Yakimaru's tense shoulder, Mori Ogai, in his white lab coat, smiled and said, "When Yaki-kun's sense of taste is restored, I'll invite him to eat cake again. Don't think of me as some heinous villain. My goal is to protect this city, and Yaki-kun has made tremendous contributions to it as well." Does he know what Yakimaru has been killing? Dazai Osamu understood the underlying message. Mori Ogai's experience far surpassed his own, no wonder he assumed the role of a teacher. Though he's a scoundrel, he's also a very formidable one. "Get your hand off." Yakimaru exploded with anger, and the other party's hand ignited with a deep red flame, pressing down on his shoulder. "Mori-san, if you don't let go of him, I'll get upset," Dazai Osamu said with a playful smile. "Fine." Mori Ogai no longer probed Yakimaru, regretfully acknowledging that this was someone his teacher valued, and he couldn't use more forceful means. "Yaki-kun, the news you receive through your eyes and ears may not always be true. Your heart will tell you what is good or bad. Can you always distinguish it correctly?" Yakimaru sighed in relief as Mori backed away, no longer worrying about his inability to move. Once again, he felt troubled by the other's identity. Could they really be father and daughter? During this time, Yakamaru stayed at the other's house, ate their food, and he and Dororo were not only unharmed by them but were also given a place to shelter from the storm. Yakamaru wanted to get an answer, looking toward Dororo on the other side, but unfortunately, he couldn't find the right words. How is the word father written in Japanese? He couldn't remember. However, he did remember mother, because his foster father Jukai was as gentle as a mother, taking care of him, carving intricate masks and prosthetics for him. Yakamaru, filled with nostalgia for Jukai, stopped struggling, which led Dazai Osamu to misunderstand. Dazai Osamu walked over and, with a light touch, placed his hand in front of Yakamaru's mask, imitating Yakamaru's habit of touching his own face. Perhaps, in Yakamaru's heart, this was a way of expressing closeness. Even though it cannot touch the essence, this distance. In your mind, it is considered a caress. Yakamaru, in a few days, I'll make it up to you. Dazai Osamu said it loud enough for others to hear. The only one who reacted was Mori Ogai, who looked at them with a faint, amused smile. Puppets should behave. Stay vigilant, don't let Mori-san's actions lead you astray. Only then will people like you. I might like you just a little. Less than normal people like normal people, nor is it pity. It is close to the feeling of life flowing from the same kind of being, a little spark of life, not wishing to see you die. That's what he thought. Dazai Osamu wasn't smiling, but in front of the pure white life flame, there was always the softness of cotton candy. What would it feel like to be touched by cotton candy? Yakamaru felt that indescribable delicate tenderness. Unable to respond, his teeth clashed together where there was no flesh in his mouth, and through the mask, a sound came out, surprising Dazai Osamu. Clank. I trust you. There was no fear of losing the strength to act or of being unable to see the world clearly, he was still willing to trust the other person. You are my Dororo. The promise was fulfilled very quickly. Within 3 days, the Suribachi Street ambush incident had temporarily ceased, and people began inquiring about Yakamaru's whereabouts. After a quick word with Mori Ogai, Dazai Osamu grabbed Yakamaru by the hand and rushed out. Mori-san, Yakamaru and I will go help you check out the strength of the outsiders. Ah, much appreciated. Mori Ogai waved his hand. Elise, sitting nearby, snarked, that's way too enthusiastic. Mori Ogai's intel paused at the connection between the person arriving and Italy's Vongala, still unclear about the real identity of the attacker, and he grew curious about how Dazai Osamu intended to resolve this troublesome situation. Dazai-kun, regarding the ranking, the most famous ranking in Italy is ranking Futa. Why would ranking Futa and the strong attacker from Suribachi Street be involved? Are they looking for Nakahara Chuya, or are they searching for Yakamaru? After a long period of busyness, the port mafia boss became interested. As Dazai Osamu said, just watching would be enough. It hadn't yet reached the point where he needed to personally step in. Suribachi Street, Yakamaru didn't realize he was heading toward a familiar place, completely focused on the interlocked hands, fingers entwined, with pure white flames seeming to burn between the gaps of his fingers. Dazai Osamu didn't think it was necessary to be this intimate, but after some awkwardness, he gave in to Yakamaru's wishes. Who taught you this? I haven't even held hands like this with a girl. The flame from Dororo looks so soft. I want to take a bite. Yakamaru realized how strange his thoughts were, pulled himself back, and stopped his wild imagination. Let's go see over there. Dazai Osamu redirected Yakamaru, sending him to find evil people. Based on his intel, Rokudo Makuro, who slaughtered the entire Estranio family's adults, was certainly a marked target, and Yakamaru was the bane of such individuals. Yakamaru's perception could penetrate anything that wasn't shielded, and even thin coverings couldn't block his sight. In some sense, this was a spiritual power. It wasn't a matter of one ability overcoming another, his investigative power was so strong that even, no longer human, couldn't erase this acquired talent. He was seriously watching the direction Dororo wanted him to see. They were all dim life flames. In one corner, the group of criminals all had the intention of escaping, trembling uncontrollably, not expecting Yakimaru to spot them. That harbinger of death has come again. Dazai Osamu and Yakimaru made their way through a narrow alley on Suribachi Street. At one point, Dazai Osamu's childish side emerged, as he jumped up the stairs, only to stop after Yakimaru had already walked a few steps ahead before slowly catching up. Each time Dazai Osamu almost tripped over some random clutter, Yakimaru would support him, preventing him from falling. Blind in sight but clear in heart. Dazai Osamu hung onto him, praising, "Yakimaru is truly amazing." Yakimaru caught Dororo and felt a sense of accomplishment. "I absolutely won't be a burden." The two wandered aimlessly, heading wherever seemed fun, and every place they passed sent people fleeing in terror. Even the residents of Suribachi Street, who considered themselves not a very good person, kept their distance from them with a respectful fear. Stopped by someone asking for directions, it turned out that this was the most interesting event Dazai Osamu encountered today. "Wait a moment. Can I ask for directions?" A blue-haired boy ran over, dressed in a uniform, exuding a scholarly air, as if he had mistakenly wandered into Suribachi Street. Dazai Osamu used a persuasion method to signal Yakimaru to stop. Yakimaru, with a blank expression, withdrew his arm, and the swordsman's severed arm from many days ago appeared. Dazai Osamu let out a pfft as he laughed. The blue-haired, confused boy saw Yakimaru's sword embedded in place, and his pupils slightly trembled. He took a step back in fear and awkwardly asked, "Excuse me, how do I go this way?" He showed them a map, the convoluted and strange paths on it leading toward the depths of Suribachi Street. It was well known that finding a specific location on Suribachi Street was quite a difficult task. Dazai Osamu forcefully suppressed Yakimaru's intense hostility, then glanced at the map, stroking his chin. It's this place, huh? The road to the spot you're looking for isn't in great condition." He gave the blue-haired youth an expression that was subtly similar. There was no difference from being bashful. Rokudo Makuro felt disgusted, but fortunately, his acting skills didn't falter. His bangs concealed his heterochromatic eyes, with his left eye being blue, much like those of Europeans. His somewhat mature features still retained a youthful charm. Dazai Osamu pronounced each word slowly. "How about I take you there myself?" Rokudo Makuro hesitated. "Would it be troublesome for you?" Dazai Osamu forcefully grabbed Yakimaru's arm, casually creating a character for himself, and feigned innocence, saying, "Yakimaru, let's go together." "Yakimaru, Dororo, my arm is about to be torn off." And the place they were heading to, deep within Suribachi Street, the Sheep King's base. Ah, they're forming a group to fight the boss. Nakahara Chuya was working part-time on the side, delivering lunchboxes, doing courier work, and temporary jobs like delivering newspapers. His professional skills were strong, and his physical abilities along with his ability were also formidable, making his daily earnings extremely impressive. At the age of 14, while others were still in school reading books and discussing novels and magazines, he was already working hard. Money is something that absolutely cannot be done without. When he finally managed to take a day off, barely sitting down and not even finishing a few rounds of his game, his ears sharply picked up unfamiliar footsteps from outside. "Who's there?" The door was pounded repeatedly, and then Dazai Osamu's excited voice shouted out. "Nakahara Chuya, someone's here to see you." Nakahara Chuya's stomach ached. Since the day he was born until now, Nakahara Chuya has had the most exhaustion caused by Dazai Osamu, to the point that hearing this person's voice triggers an instinctive urge to grab whatever is within reach and throw it. Why does Yakimaru think Dazai Osamu is a good person? He's clearly a deceitful bastard. Outside, Dazai Osamu had already prepared to step back, not wanting to get involved in whatever unclear mess was going on between Nakahara Chuya and this person. "Chuya is inside, you." Unexpectedly, the blue-haired boy wasn't in a hurry and instead asked Yakimaru, who had a crippled body. You are the Yakimaru they talk about on Suribachi Street? This guy. Yakimaru stared at Rokudo Mukuro, whose life flame flickered with a crimson light, dirty yet not particularly dark, somewhat similar to the feeling Yumino Kyusaku gave him, barely considered a protector of the mind. Illusionists are all experts in the realm of the mind, and once they fall, they become even more terrifying. Rokudo Mukuro still had his own bottom line. This is our first meeting. Honestly, I'm more curious about people like you. Unfortunately, there's not much time. Rokudo Mukuro's image somewhat faded. What true civilian would dare step into Suribachi Street, and even curious about Suribachi Yakimaru? Even if he has personal ties with Nakahara Chuya, it was still hard to convince. After achieving his goal, Rokudo Mukuro didn't bother with disguising anymore, pushing his bangs aside with his fingers to reveal his eyes. His heterochromatic gaze fell upon the two people before him. Alright, it's just one person. Dazai Osamu dramatically remarked, your eyes are like a Persian cat's, but there's a number on them. Rokudo Mukuro nodded at the two, his attitude much more indifferent. Observing the black hair on Yakimaru, Rokudo Mukuro concluded that he had little connection with the Vangala. On the contrary, it was Nakahara Chuya, whom he had heard about in Suribachi Street, that most closely matched the image of Vangala Decimo, strong, protective of the weak, and retaliatory against enemies. The orange-haired, blue-eyed boy possessed far too many special qualities that ordinary people could not attain, as if he were born a strong individual, standing above others. If he had a qualified mafia teacher to provide guidance and a bit of polishing, he could shine brilliantly on the stage of the Italian mafia. From the words of the residents of Suribachi Street and through his own interpretation, Rokudo Mukuro finally arrived at one thought: even if Nakahara Chuya is not the Vangala Decimo, I still want his body. A body with tremendous potential and abilities. Without much consideration, Rokudo Mukuro quickly encountered the second-ranked individual, a boy named Yakimaru. As soon as the other party saw him, it was as if they instinctively sensed his danger, pulling back his arm and emitting hostility. This reaction immediately attracted the attention of the illusionist, surprising him with such innate instincts. Putting aside what could be observed by the naked eye, Rokudo Mukuro also experienced a deeper level of mental resonance. He vaguely felt. The black-haired boy seemed to possess a talent for spiritual power. However, the awkward part was that Yakimaru and he had not resonated with each other in any way. Rokudo Mukuro's unilateral intent was destined to be one-sided, with a malevolent Dazai Osamu thrown into the mix. Kufufufu. We will meet again. A mist of electric blue appeared around Rokudo Mukuro, and he vanished before the two of them. Did the life flame just vanish? What did the other party come here for, exactly? Without a second thought, Dazai Osamu grabbed Yakimaru's hand and started to run away together. Let's head back. The three people disappeared without a trace. When Nakahara Chuya finally couldn't hold back and opened the door to check outside, there was no one there. Nakahara Chuya opened his mouth. You all. Where did they go? The empty scene seemed to mock him, greatly tormenting Nakahara Chuya's heart. His body swayed, and he rubbed his ear. Could it be that he hated Dazai Osamu so much that he started hallucinating? Am I broken too? Chapter 24 End.